Commander Taemin stood at the window of his research ship and looked out into the dark space. His 4 eyes went wide when he saw something huge floating in the darkness. It was a ship, but not like any ship he had ever seen before. This ship was massive and covered in scars from battles and space rocks that had hit it over time. The ship looked dead. No lights were blinking on it. No signals came from it. It just drifted through space like a giant metal ghost. Taemin had blue skin and long fingers that shook a little as he pressed buttons on his control panel. His science officer walked up to him. Her name was Veltar, and she had 4 arms that moved quickly as she worked with her tools. She looked at her scanner and then at Taemin with worry in her large black eyes. "Sir, we are not finding any living things on that ship," she said. "But the way it is built is very strange. Our computers do not know what kind of ship this is. The metal looks different from anything we have seen before." Taemin thought about this. His people had been flying through space for thousands of years. They knew about many different types of ships from many different worlds, but this ship was new to them. The humans had only started talking to other worlds 20 years ago. Most people in space thought humans were simple and not very smart about building things. Dr. Hye-jin came over to join them. She was the best scientist on their team and knew more about different types of life than anyone else. She had green skin and was very tall. Her scanner was making strange beeping sounds as she pointed it at the big ship. "This is very interesting," she said. "The metal on this ship is not just one piece. It has many layers like an onion. Each layer is different. And look at these big round things sticking out from the sides. I think they are weapons, but they are so much bigger than any weapons we use for fighting in space." Taemin made a decision. "We will go on to that ship," he said. "We will bring it back to our research station. The big bosses who make decisions for science will want to see what humans can build." They got ready to go on to the human ship. Taemin picked his best people for the job. They put on special suits that would keep them safe and took tools that could cut through doors if they needed to. They also brought cameras to take pictures of everything they found. The human ship had a place where other ships could land inside it. This place was so big that 3 of their research ships could fit inside it at the same time. Taemin was surprised by how much room there was. Why would humans need so much space just for other ships to land? As they landed inside the human ship, everything was quiet. Their lights made long shadows on the walls. The walls were very thick and made of metal that looked stronger than anything they used on their own ships. There were marks on the walls that looked like they came from explosions or very hot fire. "We will use our big ship to pull this human ship back to our station," Taemin said. His crew worked hard to attach strong cables to the human ship. These cables would let them drag it through space back to their home base, but they did not know something important. Deep inside the human ship, computers were still working. These computers had been waiting and watching. When the alien ships came close, the computers woke up and started to record everything. Every word they said, every move they made, every tool they used. The computers sent signals to faraway places where humans lived. The signals told the humans that their old ship had been found. The signals told them who had found it and what they were doing with it, but Taemin and his crew did not know about these signals. They thought the ship was completely dead. They thought they had found an old, broken ship that no one cared about anymore. They had no idea that they were walking into a trap that had been set up many years ago. As they flew back to their research station with the huge human ship behind them, Taemin felt excited. He thought they had made the greatest discovery in the history of science. He thought this human ship would teach them amazing new things about how to build better ships and better weapons. He did not know that humans had left this ship here on purpose. He did not know that humans wanted other species to find it. He did not know that everything they were about to learn was exactly what humans wanted them to learn. The trip back to their research station took several days. During this time, Taemin and his team talked about all the things they might find on the human ship. They made plans for how to study it. They decided which scientists would look at which parts of the ship. Dr. Hyjin wanted to study the medical areas of the ship. She wanted to learn about human bodies and how humans took care of sick or hurt people. Veltar wanted to look at the engines and find out how humans made their ships move so fast through space. Taemin wanted to understand the weapons. The big round things they had seen from outside looked very powerful. If they could learn how humans made such strong weapons, maybe they could make better weapons too. None of them thought about why humans would put such big weapons on their ships. None of them wondered who humans might want to fight. They just thought humans were good at building things, and they wanted to learn from them. As their research station appeared in front of them, Taemin smiled. Soon they would know all the secrets of human technology. Soon they would understand how humans built such amazing ships. He had no idea that by the time they finished studying the human ship, they would never feel safe again. At Research Station Omega-7, the human battleship became the most important thing anyone had ever studied. Scientists from all over the galaxy came to see this amazing find. The station workers moved the huge ship into their biggest work area. Even in their biggest space, the human ship made all their other ships look like toys. Dr. Kai Wook was the best engineer at the station. He had purple skin and many arms like an octopus. He led the first team that would go inside the human ship and look at how it was built. When they walked through the halls of the ship, they could not believe what they saw. Every wall was made extra strong. Every important system had backup systems in case the main ones broke. The whole ship seemed designed to keep working even if terrible things happened to it. Ki Wook had built many ships in his life, but he had never seen anything like this. "Look at these big metal doors," he said to his helper. He touched the doors with his tentacle arms. "These doors are so thick. They are much thicker than we would ever need." What could humans be so afraid of that they need such strong doors inside their own ship? Dr. Hyjin was looking at the medical area of the ship at the same time. What she found there made her feel confused and worried. The medical tools were much better than what her people used. But these tools were not made for helping sick people. These tools were made for fixing people who had been hurt very badly in fights. There were special beds for people who had been burned by fire or energy weapons. There were surgery rooms that could work even if the main ship had no power. There were machines that could keep people alive even if their bodies were broken in many places. Why would humans need medical tools like this, she said to herself. If humans only explore space and carry things from one planet to another, why do they need tools for fixing people hurt in big battles? The computers on the ship were the strangest part of all. Even though the ship had no power, the computers still had information stored in them. But this information was locked up with secret codes. The smartest code breakers from many different worlds worked for many days before they could read even simple files. When they finally opened the first files, they felt excited instead of scared. They found plans for traveling through space faster than anyone had ever traveled before. They found designs for energy weapons that were much better than anything they had. They found plans for shields that could protect ships from attacks that would destroy any ship they knew about. Ki Wook talked to the research bosses through a hologram communication system. "Just think about what we could learn from this ship," he said. "Human technology could make our whole civilization much better. We could become more advanced in just a few years instead of waiting hundreds of years." The research teams worked day and night studying different parts of the human ship. Each team found something amazing. The engine room had machines that could make more power than entire cities used. The weapon storage areas had tools of war that were far beyond anything they had imagined. Dr. Hyjin found that humans knew how to make artificial gravity that was stronger and used less energy than their best systems. The life support systems could keep people alive in conditions that would kill most other species. The navigation computers could calculate jumps through space with perfect accuracy, but as they learned more about human technology, they started to notice strange things. Why did humans build everything so strong? Why did they have so many backup systems? Why did every room have thick walls and heavy doors? It was like humans built their ships expecting them to be attacked by terrible enemies. The scientists started to realize that this was not a ship built for exploring space or carrying goods from planet to planet. This was a ship built for fighting wars. But humans had never talked about fighting wars with anyone. When humans first met other species, they seemed friendly and peaceful. Dr. Kai-wook found weapon systems that could destroy entire mountains. Dr. Haya-jin found armor that could protect against weapons she had never heard of. Other scientists found communication systems that could send secret messages across the galaxy without anyone else hearing them. All of these discoveries should have made them excited. They were learning technology that was hundreds of years ahead of their own. But instead, they started to feel worried. Why did peaceful exploration ships need such powerful weapons? Why did friendly traders need such strong armor? Why did simple cargo carriers need medical systems designed for treating war injuries? The more they learned, the more questions they had. And deep down, they were starting to suspect that the answers to these questions might be very scary indeed. Weeks passed, and more research teams kept coming to the station. Every day, they found new things about the human ship that amazed them. The power system alone was like nothing they had ever seen. It could make enough energy to power entire worlds. But the more they learned, the more worried some of them became. Dr. So Young was a military expert who studied how different species fought wars. She had come to look at the weapons and fighting systems on the human ship. What she found made her feel very uncomfortable. She discovered that the ship's computers had detailed maps of many different worlds and star systems. These maps did not just show where planets were. They showed where military bases were located. They showed where weapons were kept. They showed the weak spots in planetary defenses. The maps covered not just human territory, but the home worlds of dozens of other species, including her own. She went to Commander Taemin with what she had found. This level of information gathering, she said, means the humans have been getting ready for something big. But getting ready for what? Why do they need to know so much about our military secrets? The weapon storage areas made things even more frightening. Dr. So Young found enough explosives and weapons to destroy entire cities, but these were not normal weapons. These weapons were designed specifically to work against different types of alien armor and shields. It was like humans had studied every species in the galaxy and then built weapons that could kill them more effectively. Dr. Hee-jin made another disturbing discovery in a part of the ship that seemed to be used for biological research. She found samples and computer files with detailed information about alien body systems. The files included information about her own species and many others. The humans knew exactly how their bodies worked and what could hurt or kill them. "They know our weak spots," she whispered to her research partner. "They know what poisons would work on us. They know what diseases we can catch. They know exactly how to kill all of us, but the worst discovery was yet to come. When they finally broke through the strongest computer security, they found historical records. These records showed that this ship was not even a current military vessel. It was an old museum ship that had been retired from active duty and converted for educational purposes. This ship they had been studying with such amazement was old, outdated human technology. The weapons that seemed so advanced to them were considered antiques by human standards. The armor that seemed impossibly strong was what humans considered basic protection. The engines that amazed them were outdated models that humans no longer used. If this old museum ship was so far beyond their technology, what did current human warships look like? If these outdated weapons could destroy cities, what could modern human weapons do? The scientists began to realize they had not found an example of human engineering. They had found human garbage. Dr. Kai-wook discovered manufacturing information. That showed humans could build ships like this one in massive numbers. The industrial capacity needed to mass-produce such vessels was beyond anything their civilization could imagine. While they built one research ship every few years, humans could apparently build hundreds of warships. The navigation logs revealed that humans had many ships like this one scattered throughout the galaxy. They were not rare one-of-a-kind vessels. They were standard-issue equipment that humans built so many of they could afford to throw them away when they got old. Dr. So Young found training manuals that showed human military doctrine. Humans did not just plan to fight defensive wars. They planned to attack and conquer. Their strategies involved overwhelming force applied quickly and without mercy. They planned to destroy enemy capacity to fight back rather than just winning battles. As more information came to light, the research teams began to understand that they were not studying the technology of peaceful explorers. They were studying the cast-off equipment of a military machine beyond their comprehension. And this military machine had been quietly spreading throughout the galaxy while presenting a friendly face to other species. The research teams worked with growing fear as they uncovered more secrets from the human ship. Deep in the computer files, they found historical records that showed a side of humanity they had never imagined. These records painted a picture that was completely different from the peaceful explorers who had made first contact 20 years ago. Dr. Minho was a historian who specialized in studying wars and conflicts between different species. He was the first person to put together the true story of human history from the ship's database. What he found made him feel sick with horror. According to these records, he announced to all the researchers humanity fought a war that lasted for 300 years. This was not a war against alien enemies. This was humans fighting against other humans. The numbers of dead people are so large I can barely believe them. Billions of humans died. Entire planets were left empty and dead. The ship's military computers showed battle plans and strategies that made even the most experienced war leaders look like children playing games. Humans had perfected the art of total war. They had learned how to not just defeat enemies, but to completely destroy their ability to fight back ever again. Dr. So Young found files that described weapons called planet crackers. These were weapons that could literally split entire worlds into pieces. She found information about biological weapons that could kill every living thing on a planet. She found plans for tiny machines that could eat any material and make copies of themselves until they consumed everything. If humans have weapons like this, she asked during an emergency meeting, why are they not using them now? If humans can destroy entire planets, why do they seem so peaceful when they talk to other species? The answer came from the most heavily protected files in the ship's computer system. It took their best code experts many months to break through the security. What they found inside changed everything they thought they knew about humanity's place in the galaxy. The files showed that humans had known about other alien civilizations. For many years before they made official contact, they had been watching and studying and preparing. Humans had sent secret spy ships to observe alien worlds and learn about alien technology and military strength. When humans finally revealed themselves to the galaxy, it was not because they had just learned about other species. It was because they had finished their preparations and were ready to begin the next phase of their plan. Dr. Tae-Wan was a diplomatic expert who had joined the project to help understand human political intentions. He found communications between human military leaders discussing their strategy for joining galactic society. The humans had deliberately chosen to appear simple and harmless while hiding their true technological and military power. They are not joining our galactic civilization, he announced with fear in his voice. They are taking it over from the inside. The files showed that humanity had classified every known alien species into 3 groups. Resources were civilizations that had something humans wanted and could be taken through trade or manipulation, or conquest if necessary. Obstacles were species that were strong enough to potentially interfere with human expansion plans. Unknowns were species that humans had not finished studying yet. Most alien species fell into the resources category. The current galactic civilization was viewed by humans as remarkably peaceful and naive. Wars between alien species were small and ended quickly. Most conflicts were solved by talking rather than fighting. Most species had never developed the kind of devastating weapons that humans considered normal equipment. Dr. Hyejin discovered the most terrifying information in the biological research files. Humans had been secretly collecting genetic samples and biological information about every species they met during diplomatic meetings. They were developing weapons that could target specific alien biology while leaving humans completely unharmed. The research team realized they had not just been studying an old battleship. They had uncovered evidence of a long-term human strategy to quietly study and catalog every potential threat in the galaxy while positioning themselves for eventual conquest of everything. The deepest and most secret files contained records of humanity's first contact with galactic civilization, but told from the human point of view. The research teams discovered that everything they thought they knew about how humans joined the galactic community was wrong. The truth was much more frightening. Humans had been aware of alien civilizations for decades before making official contact. They had been watching and studying and preparing. Secret human ships had visited alien worlds and observed alien technology and culture and military strength. When humans finally revealed themselves, it was not a moment of discovery. It was the beginning of a carefully planned invasion. Dr. Tae-Wan found communications between human military leaders discussing their strategy for entering galactic society. The humans had made a deliberate choice to appear primitive and harmless. They hid their true technological superiority and massive military power while they studied potential threats and planned their next moves. "They are not joining our galactic civilization," he told the other researchers. His voice shook with fear as he spoke. "They are conquering it step by step without anyone noticing." The secret files revealed that humanity had spent years creating detailed profiles of every alien species they encountered. Each species was classified into categories based on their usefulness to human goals. Resources were civilizations that possessed something humans wanted and could be obtained through trade or manipulation or, if necessary, through conquest. Obstacles were species powerful enough to potentially threaten human expansion plans and would need to be eliminated or neutralized. Most alien species, including the ones represented at the research station, fell into the resources category. Current. Galactic civilization was viewed by human military planners as remarkably weak and unprepared for real conflict. Wars between alien species were small-scale affairs that ended quickly through negotiation. Most species had never developed truly devastating weapons or learned how to fight total war the way humans had. Dr. Hyejin made the most terrifying discovery in the xenobiology files. During every diplomatic meeting and cultural exchange, humans had been secretly collecting genetic samples and biological data on alien representatives. They were developing species-specific biological weapons that could target alien physiology while leaving humans completely unharmed. "Every time we met with human diplomats," she said in horror, "they were taking samples of our blood and skin and hair. Every time we shook their hands or shared meals with them, they were learning how to kill us more efficiently." The files contained detailed plans for biological weapons that could wipe out entire alien species in days or weeks. Viruses that would be harmless to humans but deadly to aliens. Chemical weapons that would target specific alien organ systems. Genetic weapons that could be transmitted from one alien to another until entire populations were eliminated. But the biological weapons were not the worst part. The research team found evidence that humans had been quietly placing their people in key positions throughout galactic society. Human advisors worked in alien governments. Human scientists worked in alien research facilities. Human traders had access to alien economic systems and infrastructure. These humans were not just living peacefully among alien populations. They were gathering intelligence and preparing for the day when humanity would drop its peaceful mask and begin open conquest. Every human diplomat was actually a spy. Every human scientist was actually gathering information about alien weaknesses. Every human trader was actually mapping alien supply lines and economic vulnerabilities. Dr. Min Ho found the most chilling information in the strategic planning files. Humans had been studying galactic civilization for decades and had concluded that total conquest would be relatively easy. Most alien species were too peaceful and trusting to mount effective resistance. Most alien governments were too divided and bureaucratic to respond quickly to threats. Most alien militaries were too small and poorly equipped to fight against human forces. The human plan was elegant in its simplicity. Continue to appear friendly and helpful while secretly preparing for conquest. Learn everything possible about alien weaknesses and capabilities. Position human agents in key locations throughout galactic society. Then, when everything was ready, strike simultaneously at all major alien worlds and governments before anyone could organize resistance. Research teams realized with growing horror that they were not the first aliens to discover evidence of human intentions. The files contained references to other alien research teams and intelligence services that had uncovered parts of the human plan. But these other aliens had disappeared, or been discredited, or had their warnings ignored by their own governments. Humanity had been playing this game for decades and had become very good at dealing with threats to their secrecy. Commander Taemin called an emergency meeting of all the senior researchers. The evidence they had gathered painted a picture of humanity that filled every alien species on the station with absolute terror. The peaceful explorers who had joined galactic civilization 20 years ago were revealed to be the most dangerous predators the galaxy had ever seen. "We have to warn the Galactic Council immediately," said Dr. So-Young. Her voice was urgent and full of fear. "Every species in known space is in terrible danger. The humans are not just more advanced than us. They have been planning to conquer or destroy all of us from the very beginning." The research teams began preparing to leave the station immediately with their findings. They would carry warnings to every world in the galaxy. They would tell their governments and military leaders about the terrible truth they had discovered. They would try to organize some kind of defense against the coming human invasion. But as they prepared to leave, they discovered something that filled them with complete and total dread. Something that made them realize their situation was even worse than they had imagined. Dr. Kai-wook was doing final checks on the human ship's systems when he found transmission logs hidden deep in the communication computers. As he read through these logs, his face went pale with horror, and his tentacle arms began to shake uncontrollably. "They have known we were here all along," he whispered to the other researchers. "The human ship's automated systems have been recording everything since we first boarded. Every conversation we had, every discovery we made, every classified piece of information we found. All of it has been transmitted in real time to human intelligence services. The implications were staggering and terrifying. If humans could manipulate an entire galactic research expedition so easily, what else were they capable of? How many other discoveries had been carefully orchestrated by human intelligence agents? How many alien governments had already been compromised by human spies? The researchers realized with growing horror that they had not been conducting independent scientific research. They had been unwitting participants in humanity's psychological warfare campaign. The fear and terror they felt was exactly what humans wanted other species to experience. Dr. Heejin discovered additional evidence that made their situation even worse. The human ship had not been abandoned or lost as they had originally thought. It had been deliberately placed in their path. Human intelligence had known their research expedition was coming to this sector of space. They had positioned the ship where it would be found and had filled it with exactly the information they wanted the aliens to discover. Everything they had learned was part of a carefully planned human operation. The outdated technology that had amazed them was meant to show alien species how far behind they were. The historical records of human wars were meant to demonstrate human capacity for violence and destruction. The strategic planning documents were meant to show that resistance was futile. But worst of all, the researchers realized that they were not the first alien team to make this discovery. The ship's logs showed that dozens of other research expeditions from different species had found similar human ships over the years. Each team had made the same discoveries. Each team had felt the same terror. Each team had tried to warn their governments, but these warnings had been ignored or dismissed or discredited. Human agents working within alien governments had made sure that reports about human military capabilities were not taken seriously. The few alien leaders who had tried to organize resistance had disappeared, or suffered accidents or been removed from power through political manipulation. The human, psychological warfare campaign was not just about making aliens afraid. It was about making them feel hopeless and powerless. It was about convincing them that resistance was impossible and that surrender was their only option. As evacuation alarms began sounding throughout the research station, the teams realized they were no longer conducting scientific research. They had become unwitting actors in humanity's final preparation for conquest. The fear they carried back to their home worlds would spread to other species and weaken their resolve to fight. Some researchers chose to flee. They analyzed a human battleship. What they found made them curious. They left terrified.